Hello, everybody. Hope you all are having a night. Make sure I've got everything going here. Wanted to come on tonight and really just talk about movement, or continue our discussion on movement. I know this month it's a little crazy for everybody. So I wanted to just keep some semblance of normal in our lives. Tonight's discussion won't be all that long. Really tonight, in terms of movement, I want to talk about how often, right? So how often should we be doing this? And I apologize for my hair. It's just going crazy today, but whatever. So in March, we talked about what movement is, made that definition of that deliberate act, right? We talked about, lifting weights versus cardio. We talked about that last week, and how really that's not the right question. It's not one or the other. Both will benefit you. Tonight, and I'll cut right to the chase. I want to keep this quick unless we have questions. I want to talk about how often. So when we talk about movement, we talk about having that deliberate action. How often should we be doing that? And, there's a couple of ways to look at it. If we're talking about, perfect world, right? Perfect world opportunities. Had a hat on all day and then took a shower and my hair is just nuts. There's that perfect world number, right? And this is how you can tell I'm a real person, right? I was home with my kids all day, and anyway, so how often? Perfect world amount or realistic amount? That's kind of the two thought patterns that we've got behind this question of how often we should do cardio. Hey, Daniel. So ideally, in a perfect world, you're getting some movement every day, okay? And the duration doesn't matter. I don't care how long it is. What's up, Drew? I don't care how long it is. You've got all these different groups saying, oh, you need to exercise for this amount. Well, if you're not doing anything right now, it doesn't matter, right? 30 seconds is fantastic. So just get something every day, okay? How we break that up and how we section that out is really important. So what I like to do, especially now with most of us working from home or forced to be home with kids, break that up. Yes, ETSU, this shirt is so old. We break the day up, break the movement up. So my kids and I, we had a couple of bouts of active play today. You may have seen it on this channel. We went live with about 10 to 12 minutes of movement. We're gonna do that tomorrow. We're gonna do that every weekday. Kids wanna do it on Saturday and Sunday too, but I said, let's just focus on the weekdays. So we're doing that every weekday. So we had about 10 minutes of movement then. We went outside later in the day and kind of did an exploration. My middle child, Emily, part of her class is a huge component of her class, which I love, is getting outside, exploring, kind of like seeing what's in nature and then utilizing that with experimentation. It's that learning when you don't realize you're learning. It's wonderful. It's fantastic. So we did a little bit of that today also. So we're outside in nature, moving, running, playing. I trained, but then we also went back outside later. So I'm breaking it up as many times as I can throughout the day. Whether that's 1 minute, 2 minutes, 10 minutes, doesn't matter. You're purposefully getting outside or getting up and getting some kind of movement in. So when we talk about how often, daily movement is ideal, okay? Any kind of movement. Now, when we talk about resistance training, Okay, if we're talking about going to the gym, okay, which most of us can't do right now, so stick to this channel and we'll give you some home workouts. If you're going to the gym, 2 days is plenty. Okay, plenty. 4 or 5 days, that's fine too if that's what you want to do. So interestingly, there was a study done not too long ago comparing a group of individuals that went 2 days and a group of individuals that went 5 days. And the volume was equated, meaning that the guys who went and girls who went 2 days, they were doing the same amount of reps that the group that was going 5 days was doing. So in other words, if the group that was going 5 days a week, if they were doing, let's just say for ease of argument, 10 total sets, okay, of exercise for their chest, okay? The group that went 2 days a week was also doing 10 sets for their chest, okay? What the researchers found, and this study needs to be replicated multiple times, but what they found was the folks that went 2 days a week saw just as much gains and benefit as people who went 5 days a week. And what they theorized from that was the guys and girls who were able to go 2 weeks or 2 days a week were able to be more consistent. And that's what it's all about. Okay, so if you're going to a gym, shoot for 2 days a week. If you're doing stuff at home, heck, you could do something every day. Some of the stuff that we did earlier, some stuff that we'll do tomorrow, you can do that kind of stuff every day, especially if it's body weight kind of movements and it's just a few here and there. Don't get in your head of, oh, I really need to take a day off because I really worked hard yesterday. Or I need to work extra hard today because I didn't do much yesterday. No, it's all about that consistency, okay? Because we want to match that up to whatever your goal was from back in January. But for most of us, it's really just about getting healthier and about feeling better and looking better, right? So a little bit of daily movement is plenty, okay? And that goes for the cardio, that goes for strength training. If you have a specific goal, okay, of wanting to run a marathon or get up on stage as a bodybuilder, maybe you've got a powerlifting meet or a weightlifting meet, obviously a few of those are gonna have to change. I'm speaking specifically to the general public, okay? So that's kind of where we wanted to go tonight. I wanted to, like I said, wanted to keep it short. I know all of us have a lot on our plates right now, a lot that we're dealing with. I hope everything's going well wherever you're watching from, keeping those hands washed. I don't think I've ever washed my hands as much as I'm washing them right now. I mean, they're dry. I'm washing them so much. So how often? A little bit of daily movement, okay? A little bit every single day. Keep it tuned to this station, almost like I'm on the radio, and you'll see some daily movement, especially while we're out on this break. I know for right now, my kids are off for 2 weeks, so we go back, as of right now, I think that's gonna change, but we go back on the 30th of this month of March. And so between now and then, we'll be coming in 11 a.m. every day with, we'll say 5 to 10 minutes of movement. And I say 5 to 10, I'm gonna try to keep it at 10, but you never know what's gonna happen with kids, right? So I'll stay on for a little bit if anybody's got any questions. I've got a couple more calls later tonight about some things that are going on, as I'm sure you probably do too, with work and things like that. So if anybody has any questions about movement and how often and anything specific that I can ask, I'm happy to do so. Hey Cheryl. My phone just went crazy. Does anybody else have, I love my iPhone, so if you're not an iPhone user, you don't have to chime in, but anybody else have an issue with sometimes you say something and your your phone tries to answer you. Like just now, Siri came on and tried to answer me. I don't like that. Other than that, I love the phone. Next week, we're going to be talking about if you should change it up and how often you should change it up. In the last week of the month, we're going to talk about setting up a program. How to actually set up a general program, a general training program with the goal that most parents, most adults, working professionals have. Looking good, feeling good, performing good. You know, those three things we talked about last week. In April, we're going to talk a lot about supplements. Really want to get into supplements. It's a huge industry. Millions of dollars are spent on supplements every year that don't need to be. But we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about what works and what doesn't. May, we're going to talk about kids fitness. Let's see, Daniel. Someone who moves a lot for work. Some days, really a lot. Yeah. What would you do for extra movement? Well, okay, so that's a really, really good question. All right, so I've got a couple of things actually. So let me preface this with this. Your muscle contracts 3 different ways, okay? And if you already know this, just tune out for a second. So it contracts concentrically, which is the shortening of a muscle, okay? It contracts eccentrically, which is the lengthening of the muscle to overcome load. And then it contracts isometrically, which is where the muscle does not move, okay? It doesn't lengthen or shorten. And it doesn't overcome the load, it just holds the load. So in other words, when you're doing a bicep curl, okay, when I'm curling up my bicep, when I bring it up, that's a concentric contraction. My bicep is shortening to overcome that load, okay? When I'm letting it down, it's eccentrically contracting, okay? The load is overcoming it. And if I'm holding it or if I'm doing a wall sit, that's an isometric exercise, okay? There's no movement. I say that for a couple of reasons. Number one, it really depends on what it is you're doing throughout the day, okay? So I know Daniel, so I can say all this, owns his own business, basically general contractor, right? So you're on your feet all the time, overseeing project management. Sometimes you're getting your hands dirty, sometimes you're not. I mean, it is real inconsistent, because sometimes you're moving a lot and you're having to do all the work, and sometimes you're not. So it depends, okay? A lot of other intricate parts come into play, but the reason why I wanted to describe muscle contraction, here's something that's neat. This is really cool. There's a study not too long ago that compared isometric contractions, so like a wall sit, okay? Compared it to cardio, compared it to cardiovascular work, okay? And what it showed and what it was trying to show, and again, with any study you ever hear, read, see, it needs to be replicated a bunch, okay? So nothing is taken just, as this is the way to do it, okay? I'm just providing examples. But they compared that isometric, so maybe like a wall sit, okay, and had an individual do a wall sit, and what they saw was when you do that wall sit or maybe a plank, right, that's an isometric contraction, what happens to your heart rate? It goes up quite a bit, right? It goes up and increases about the same much that a long duration cardiovascular bout would do. What that means is, depending on how much extra time you have, You could do some isometric work because you're getting movement, right? The deliberate exercise in without having to take 20 to 30 minutes to hop on a bike or go for a walk or something like that when it's 10 or 11 o'clock at night and all you want to do is go to sleep, okay? So maybe, hopefully that helps. The other side of it, extra movement could be maybe some bodyweight squats. It could be, honestly, getting that leg just shaking, moving. There's all sorts of principles that build into your BMR, your basal metabolic rate. And one of those is something called NEAT. And that is kind of the way we move throughout our day, right? The extra movements that we do while we're just kind of hanging out that we don't really think about. And over the course of time, that extra movement decreases as we age, as we drop body fat percentage. If you ever see a bodybuilder who's getting ready for a show, they're not doing a lot of extra movement because they just don't have the energy. But as we get older, as our muscle mass decreases, as our metabolic rate decreases, we don't move around a lot. So a lot of just stuff like this and standing up, eat dinner standing up, just any kind of extra movement is plenty and it counts. So it's a long-winded way of saying it really depends on your specific situation. I would try just doing some planks or some push-ups right before bed. Taking supplements every day, it's a great thing. Depends on what you're taking. But like I said, we're going to talk about that a lot in April because there's a lot of... someone just gave me a mad face. Maybe I could answer that question better. There's a lot of supplements that you don't need. But we're gonna talk a lot about that in April. There's only about 2 or 3 that are really worth anything for most people. What other kind of questions do I have? If there are any. Like I said, tonight really just wanted to kind of keep it nice and quick. Of course, for me, I can talk forever, so it's all right. Movement. When it comes to movement, daily movement is key. Get some daily movement in. We'll be back tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be doing movement with my kids every day, every weekday during this break, just to help a lot of the other parents out. If you've got kids at home, join us. We'd love to have you. Let us know. Let us know what you think, and if any of the exercises are weird or you want us to explain it better, we'd love to help you out. Yes. I mean, I will tell you right now, great question, addressing metabolic enhancers like hydroxycut or basically fat burners. Don't waste your money. Fat burners are just, they're a waste of money. The supplement company, I'm really going to get into this next month. I'm really frustrated right now about the fitness industry anyway, because there's a lot of people out right now. I see it on especially on my Instagram account. There's a lot of people out right now promoting certain supplements or certain diets that'll combat this coronavirus, and it really makes me want to smack them. No, there is not a fat burner that works. It works for guys in college because our testosterone is already through the roof, and we're going to lose fat anyway. Now, no. Fat burners do not work at all. Save your money. You spend your money on good quality food, you'll be fine. Promise. I won't steer you wrong. I want you to keep your money. I mean, really, the supplement company, and I'm going to go hard into this next month, but the supplement company is like a $40 billion a year industry. And there's probably 3 supplements. I mean, I've got kind of got a list. There are about 3 supplements that are worth taking for the most part, for most people. Not for everybody. Some people need a little bit of extra something here and there. But yeah, most people don't need fat burners or anything like that. I could tell you now, but if I told you now, you wouldn't come back and watch next month. I hope you all have a great rest of the night. If you've got extra questions, DM me. Would love to help. Stay safe. Don't go out in crowds. Please wash your hands and have a good night. I love y'all.